From Senegal to Sugar Hill, trace the bloodline. 100 years of brilliance through the color line. They thought the shackles broke but kept the mental chain. Langston penned the future while they legislated pain. Harlem's ballrooms birthed the cosmos in mahogany, while lynching trees still decorated southern botany. Josephine Waker's pearls and Garvey's Navy ships. Du Bois debating destiny with scholarship on his lips. The Renaissance was a renaissance, it was resistance, fam. Every trumpet blast from Armstrong was a battering ram. They gave us minstrel shows, we gave them Sora Neal. Turned depression into art, made the fabricated real. Cotton Club excluded us from tables every set. To form the Venus nightly, never free from the deck. But Bessie Smith could shatter glass, shatter cash, shatter lies. Every note she sang contained a revolution in the sky. Build temples from the rubble, make cathedrals from the scrubble. Turned the margins to the center, now they study what we scribble. We built temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from. Fast forward through the decades, watch the pattern reassemble. Malcolm's speeches, Martin's marches, every voice begins to tremble to the earth until the structure shows its fractures. FBI was tracking every coon with every pastor, every actor. 40 acres never came but 40 minutes on a stage. To reconvene your consciousness and channelize the rage. From bebop to hip-hop, the fool lines mathematical. Each generation weaponized the beautiful, the radical. They gave us Reagan, now there's crack and mass incarceration. We gave them Public Enemy and blueprints for liberation. The Harlem Renaissance never ended, just evolved its form. Every freestyle cipher is a brainstorm, is a storm. Where the children of the talented, the tempted, the was prophesied, inherit the fire that the water couldn't wash aside. They tried to write us out the narrative. We offered all on text, 100 years of proof, and that we're destined. Where was next? Temples from the rubble, made cathedrals from the struggle. Turned the largest to the center, now they study what we scribble. We built temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from.
All right, this is, and you are Under the Groove. Welcome, everybody. This is Under the Groove podcast. Please like, share, follow, and subscribe if you see fit to this get down. It's like no other. We keep everything here above board. You know, that's how we go. That's how we go about business here. Respectful, just on point. We're talking about our histories, our identities, you know what I mean? Our unity, all that shit that matter, man, that we don't get enough of on social media. But here we are. Here I am, and there you are. Let's get it in. This is Touching Bases with the People. Today is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Grand Rising. May your day have been everything you set out for it to be. You put that work in, you're going to reap the benefits of it, all right? That's something we should always be mindful of. You are the captain of this ship, that ship. The one you're selling, your guy, and that's your shit. Ain't nobody else's. Trust that. Hey, it's an honor to be here. And it's an honor to have those who are tapped in just now and who are in right now, as well as those who will come, to be able to do this. I look forward to it Monday through Fridays. I imagine at some point this thing get to where it's supposed to be, how it should be. It might be 7 days a week. Right now, it's 5 days a week. All right, touching bases with the people from 6:15 to 8:15. We throw them 2 hours in there, man, and let it do what it do. Brothers and sisters, kings and queens, gods and goddesses, come on in here and let's make this thing worth the while. All right, spend this time, man, doing something constructive, communicating with each other. Some we fall short of. We don't do enough of it, and if we do, we only include those we cool with, talking with, communicating with, having debates with, or discussions. We very seldom, rarely do we go out of our comfort zone. That's the unknown. And for a lot of us, man, we've been made to believe that the unknown is something we should be scared of. We should be frightened of. Nah, that ain't how we get down, truly, truthfully. We them type of individuals, man, we go out there, man, we want to know what the hell it is, when you see these movies with these white people, they, they've been adventurous. Oh, they curious. Now they got that from us. They got that from us, man. Trust and know that, what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. When it come to us, there's no one like us. The Kendrick Lamar spiel, man, they not like us, man. Trust and know that. That being said, again, welcome everybody. Let's get it in. Today is Tuesday, and we want to call this Tuesday's Traditions and Trials. All right? Traditions and trials. That encompasses a whole lot, all right? Our traditions, especially when we're talking about certain traditions, I'm talking to now a certain category of brothers and sisters that come from that, you know, who see off the rip, off the bat, that we don't hold or uphold, practice these traditions anymore. Now, trials, that's something we can all speak to because we go through these things every day, man. Ain't nobody got a one up on a trial or tribulation in terms of black folk. We got them. We deal with them every day, all day. All right. So today is Tuesday's traditions and trials. And let's try to tap in on that. All right. The beauty about Under the Groove, touching bases with the people, is that for the most part, it's organic. Every now and then we'll come in, I'll come in. We have some clips laid out, want to share some stuff with the people, just to, spark that brain, get that thing, to working right. I got a clip actually. Some brother Malcolm X was talking about us as a people and how we've been affected by being a part or being included, so they say, into this society, how integration has really hurt us, harmed us more than it has helped or profited us. All right, let's put it like that. All right. First and foremost, you already know how this go. Again, peace and prosperity to all you kings and queens, you gods and goddesses, man. Good to see everybody here. All right. We're going up in here, man. Antonio, I see you, bro. As always, that salute. It's always an honor, homie, to see you. Raymond Skull, man, 102, man. This is my Raymond brother, man, part of the Ray family. The Ray's family out of Inglewots is what we used to call it back in the day. But I know today it's Inglewood, the ING or however y'all call it nowadays. But this is Raymond Skull, man. Peace and prosperity to you, bro, and your family, and to the Rays. I just saw something the other day, man, with brother Sparks. OG Sparks, man, was in there, touch bases lightly, man, about the loved one TS, you know what I mean? And I can appreciate how he went about doing that. It was above board, and that's something we tend to stick to here, being above board, being above board. You could tell that this brother comes from structure, been through what he's been through. This brother, he's laced tight. You could tell the way he formulated his words, the way he articulated his thoughts. This brother then been somewhere, then been through some shit. All right. That's the only way I can see that, man. He been through something to get to where he is now, So I appreciate that. And I tapped in with one of the loved ones to tap in with him for me so I can, link up with this brother. I would like to link up with this brother, sit down and have a powwow with him that goes double though for my loved one, man, brother Crazo, man. Peace and respect to them, both them brothers. Hey, Raymond Skull, good to see you up in here, man. You going to say salute to you, bub. I trust that all is well with you and your family. Peace to the brothers and sisters in your community. A major salute to the people of the Royal Group congregation. And again, I get that right back. I want to say, man, reciprocate that love and respect to the brothers and sisters, man, not just from the Inglewood chapter of the Rays, man, but from the LA chapter and the Pasadena chapter as well, man. Peace and prosperity to each and every one of you kings and queens. All right. Good to see you up in here, though, Roscoe. One love, bro. B60 said greetings and salutations to you, bub, and the RGC B1. For those of you who don't know, B1, all it means is black first. There's no platform or nothing. We not coming in like the FBA saying, hey, man, this is our platform, our foundation. No, we're saying just period, point blank. Black should be first. With any and all of us, black should be first. We shouldn't have to have an organization, a movement, or anything. It should just be, a part of our frame of thought, part of our spiritual self. We should represent that. Black first. For anyone, anything else, it should be us first. That's where we, in my opinion, I think that's where we go wrong at. We don't put us first. Everyone and everything else tends to come first, tend to come before us. And that should not be the case. We should always want to make sure that we are representing us before anybody else. When we get to that, we're doing good. Now I'm looking at my situation. I'm seeing this buffering I don't like that. I promise you I don't like that shit. Everything hooked up. I don't know if it's the heat or what, but I don't like it. I kind of want to do something about that, because if it's buffering here, that means you guys are catching that buffering as well. I'm going to restart this bad boy. No, don't do that. This is what I'm going to do. 1 second, everybody. 1 second. What I'm dealing with. Okay, boom. Now let's drop this thing up in here. Let's get it right. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's see. No, all right, there we go. All right. That being said, so yeah, man. Hey, like I say, peace and prosperity to you and the rest of the Rays, Roscoe. Love you, bro. Lisa Moore, she up in here, B60 again. Same thing. Lisa Moore, man, one of our queen sisters. RGC is in the house. B1 is up and in motion. It's in effect. Lisa said, Grand Rising, Brother Bub, blessings to you and the family, peace, blessings, and love to the kings and queens in the RGC. B1 equals black first. Again, for those of you who don't know, that's what we say. You know, it's a mantra, sort of, kind of, on this end. Again, we're not trying to establish that on no foundation or push no line about it. All it says, all it means is real simple, is that we should put us first. We put us first. That's it. You know, there's no, constitution to go to it. No, no preamble, none of that. Just black first, man. It's a thought, put it in there, man, and apply it to the process. Good to see you up in here, Lisa Moore. Raymond Skull going to say, man, I want to shed some light on the history of the Democratic Party and Republicans too. In relation to the voting process, people still believe we are included in that process. I just don't believe we are. Hey, see, for me, that's something I love talking about, man, because politics, I think, is something I'm not the best in it. I'm not, laced more than anybody else. I don't think it's necessarily my forte, but I have a understanding of that process. And I'm like you, as far as that go, it doesn't serve us. Democrat or Republican, voting for either one of those parties does not serve us. And this is why I said a few days ago, this is Tuesday, last week, I said, hey man, our vote should have some type of transaction attached to it. In order to get our vote, you got to pay us. We got to see some dividend, some benefit, something that will show that we progressed as a result of giving you, them, whoever, our vote. If that don't pan out like that, if our vote is just for free, man, look, man, we can't expect nothing other than the lip service we get when these individuals are campaigning for a seat in political office or in the halls of power. Listen, make them pay for our vote. Oh, that's easy. Some of you are saying, how you do that? That's easy. Before you vote, you tell them this is what we want to see in motion while you're still in office. Before you run for another term, this is what we need. Our communities need facilities that are training our youth in terms of technology, the STEM, the STEM programs that science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Produce, and we'll bring you X amount of votes. That's a transaction. Our votes should be nothing but that, transactional votes, a part of a process with a transaction attached to it. And I'm gonna tell y'all something that's not far-fetched. Most other demographics do that. I'm not lying to you. Check it out. They do that. They get something for their votes and not just lip service. Those of you who know a pair of lips to say anything, right? And sometimes a lot of what's being said from these individuals have no substance behind it. It's just, hot air, lip service, telling you what you want to hear without producing what you need. Yeah, so if our people are going to vote, and this goes to all these nonprofits and anybody else who are pushing the line to get black people out to vote for Kamala Harris or Cory Booker, both of which who allegedly sellouts who get paid from the AIPAC. That is the Israeli lobby. So they pay for these campaigns. They support these individual politicians. And as a result, yeah, they're owed something. Again, it's a transaction. No matter how you look at it, it's a transaction. But to those organizations within our communities that want to go door to door, ask our elderly, ask the younger adults, and ask the young to go and support some candidate without anything or without receiving anything in return, that's wrong. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Stop allowing these politicians to come into our communities and corral you guys, get you guys all together and say, hey, I need y'all to go out and get these votes for us. No, stop them in mid-sentence. Like, okay, what we got coming? What's in it for us? All right. Oh, election is how many months away? Okay, in that time, we need you to pass a bill and get the funds for what we need done, the projects in our community. Because, hey, you got to vote for us too. Your vote got to count to us too. It got to mean something. It got to mean something. Stop going out there, man, and supporting these candidates. I don't care if they are black. A lot of them don't give a flying flick about none of us. We don't line their pockets. Most of them make $174,000 a year. But the funny thing is, all of them are rich. They're rich, and they didn't get rich on that pay number, that pay rate. Figure that out. Again, man, it's a transaction. Let's make them pay for what they want from us. And if they're not willing to pay, don't vote. Do what we've been doing lately. Fall back. Let's watch the spectacle without our involvement. Let's just watch how it pan out, how it play out. They should not get one vote from the black community if they haven't done anything for the black community or is not doing something right now for the black community before the election. They shouldn't get a vote. And our brothers and sisters, our kings and queens, guys and goddesses should not be propagating or advocating for these individuals. Period. That's just it, man. That's how we start dealing with shit. Let's take some responsibility. Let's be accountable. Let's make them accountable through how we go about doing business, because that's what it is, man. It's business. Most of us in our communities, we always talking about business, standing on business, the bag, and this, that, and the other. Wanting to see the communities prosper. Do better. Hey, this is a start. Trust me. Trust me. And that don't just go for politicians up in Congress, our city, our state representatives. This go for city council members and everything else. Assembly persons, amen, all of them. Make them pay their way. Make them pay their way, man. That's how we get shit done. That's how we get shit done. I promise you that, man. Our votes should be done in terms of a transaction. Quid pro quo. All right. We got to get something in order for them to get something from us. They got to give us first. We in the streets, man. We dipping, we doing what we do. We used to make money back in the day. Give me that money first. Let me see what I'm getting first. Put it in my hand before I give you anything. That's how we should be dealing with that, man. I tell you, that's some real spit, man. Hey, man, appreciate you coming in with that part right there, Raymond Cole, because that's some real serious stuff. Again, we seem to be the only people, the only demographic that gets nothing for its vote. Every now and then we get a so-called political celebrity to come through and shake a couple of hands. They don't even hold babies no more, man. These politicians don't even come to take a picture with the baby. Our brothers and sisters, man, in politics, man, they don't care, man. They don't care. So the tradition of what the vote really used to be about has changed. It is no longer what it was. All right. We have to acknowledge that. We have to acknowledge that. Okay. And if the vote really means something to them, then they have to mean something to us. They got to pay us, man. They got to pay us. Appreciate that, Roscoe, for real. Queen Nzinga said, man, peace and blessings to the Royal Group congregation. Be one, black first, y'all. Black first. And I'm gonna tell you, on that note, be one, black first. Listen, man, we ain't got nobody but us. There's no one coming to save us. No thing, no person, no power. Because we already not only exemplify that, we possess it, the power. We have already been anointed with the power. We just haven't executed. We don't know how to utilize it. You know, we are our saviors. We have to be. We have to be. In this form, this human form, flesh and bone, we got to do what's necessary for us and no one else. Ain't nobody else going to do jack for us, man. Real spit. Real spit. You know, you look at what's happening in society today, from the top echelons of government to the lower levels where, you know, individuals stand where we stand. They give a flying flick about any of us. And they will tell it to us anytime we piss them off. They'll let us know. You're a ninja, you this, you that, and can't stand you, never loved you, hate you. But love everything you create. Love everything you do. We just hate you. Now, why they is, I don't know. Probably because they haven't created or been as ingenious or, you know, as we are. You know, we're motivators, you know what I mean? We're innovators. We're inventors. You know, we're pathfinders, trendsetters. We're all that shit. But we have to get past that, the entertainment BS we see. You know what I mean? All the shit, you know, come on, man, that's cool. But we got to go a lot deeper than that, man. You know, we got to make them pay homage. So, yeah, the only way to get them to do that, man, is if they recognize that we recognize that, man, we ain't buying into none of this shit y'all talking about. We got us, you know, and y'all got to pay us for our get downs, our talents, you know. That's where we messing up at, man. We don't put black first, all right? Just got to say it. Just got to say it, man. Rakufu, you say power and prosperity to the RGC, man. Peace and prosperity as well. Right back to you and the family, bro. Good to see you up in here. Raymond Skull hit us with the, hey, man, let's talk about some politics. He got it on his chest. He say, man, don't trust these people, Republican or Democrat. He wants to shed light on the Democratic Party as well as the Republicans, you know, in terms of or relating to the voting process. I'm an advocate. I say, pure and simple, voting ain't nothing, man. It ain't nothing. And especially if we're not getting nothing as a result of it. That process is a Ponzi scheme. It's a scheme that we don't benefit from it, period, point blank. A lot of us tend to think that when presidential elections come, we're voting for a president. Wrong. We have nothing to do with that process. The only process in terms of voting that we have something to do is on, you know, below the president and down. You know, city, county, state, federal, you know, those positions, Senate, Congress people, you know, yeah, council people, assembly people. We can predict, you know, their future in politics only if we understood how that shit really worked. Again, it's about, man, our vote counting for something. We should start demanding something for our votes, but demand it before they even get our votes. Like I said, it's like the game back in the day, you know, the crack game. You didn't give a club your shit before you got, you know what I mean? You just didn't. That's wise. You know, that was wise. The same should apply when it comes to voting. Don't give none of them sneaky, corrupt politicians a vote until they give you something. You know, hey, show and tell, man. Show me you got something for me. And then, hey, I'll tell you whether or not I'm going to give you this vote. If that ain't happening, that vote ain't happening. You won't get this vote. No, hey, no check, no vote. No reparations, no vote. You know, no cooperation, you know, no subsidiaries, no improvements to the community, none of that, no vote. You get Nathan from us. Fall back, you know, and they know we're capable. A lot of them are upset because we don't we don't step up the bat for them. Hey, no, why should we? It's your fight. That's your fight. And the same should apply to these politicians. That's it. That's all. So, yeah, Rakufu, that's what it is. Excuse me, y'all. This is Tuesday's traditions and trials. All right. We're talking about traditions, how none of them actually exist anymore. You know, the powers that be have effectively found a way to do away with our traditions. Some of our traditions were, etched in stone. When it came to elders, respect, paying homage, you know what I mean? We carried ourselves a certain way around the elders that began to deteriorate, let's say 30, 40 years ago, around the same time. Matter of fact, could have been longer, but around the same time as crack era. That's when all that shit went out the window. They found a way, man, to rid us of our traditions, how we carried ourselves and how we dealt with each other, As a result of that, we began to experience certain trials and tribulations unseen before, unseen before. So yeah, that's the discussion, man. This is Tuesday's traditions and trials, man. Let's get on their ass. So word for today is heuristic. All right. Heuristic. And I'm thinking I pronounced that right. Heuristic. We call Rakufu say, man, he used a heuristic to solve the problem quickly. This is the word used in a sentence. He used a heuristic to solve the problem. Yes, it kind of left a lot to the imagination still, you know what I mean? I got to go into my dictionary and see, get a greater understanding. He used, was that solution? Did he use, an idea? I don't know. Right quick, hold on. All right, what does heuristic mean? Okay, involving or enabling discovery or problem solving through methods such as experimentation, evaluation, and trial and error. Appreciate that though, Rakufu. That's how that should be done, bro. All right. Appreciate that. Sam's Evans, he up here, man, bright and early, man, front and center. He said, B1, salute to the platform. Yes, the channel appreciate you, bro. Being front and center, man. We love you for that, man. Respect you as well. Hey, we put out there, man, that yours are blessed and prosperous, man, in this day. That everybody is on their game, all right? Good to see you here, bro. Good to see you here. Rakufu said, man, a heuristic is a practical problem solving method or strategy that helps you reach a solution quickly and efficiently, especially when a perfect or exact answer is possible. All right. There that go. That's the word for the day, y'all. Heuristic. All right. Lisa Moore sending a shout out to Raymond Skull, man. A blessing to you, King. I hope all is well with you, my brother. No reparations, no vote. No check, no vote. And again, reparations, let them tell it is not necessarily monetarily, or monetary, there was no mention of a monetary reparations. It was 40 acres and a mule. However, it can be technically, it can be in a monetary form, or some in terms of, some finance, monetarily speaking, but in any respect, hey man, we ain't getting nothing. You ain't getting nothing. No money, no mule, no 40 acres, no vote, stupid. That should be the mantra. And again, I'm specifically saying this to the nonprofits that help these corrupt politicians to get in office, to get a seat, in the halls of power. You know what I mean? I'm specifically saying that to them. Stop assisting these people, man. Stop assisting these people when they're not doing nothing to assist those of us who are in these communities that are suffering, man. That are really, really suffering. People barely paying their rent, man, can barely buy gas, keep food in the refrigerator and the cabinets. There's no health care. you know, jobs. I mean, for real, you know, we got people sleeping on the streets, man. And these politicians want to go into office for what? Why? If they're not taking care of this surface shit, you know, if they are more than willing to send money to Israel for bombs and airplanes and weapons of war, rather than take care of the people here that need it, them tens of billions of dollars, hey man, we doing some ass backwards, man. And they're only able to do this because they recognize we don't know what the hell we doing with our vote. See, taking advantage of our ignorance. And that's what people do. People who call themselves in seats of power, or, you know, in a position of authority to help pass laws, you know, bills, you know, things of that nature. They look at us as ignorant. We don't know enough to make them do their damn jobs at home first. So yeah, we got to change that. Stop helping these people, man. Stop lining these people's pockets, man. And most of them, again, and this is not an allegation, this is documented facts, is data on this shit. They are corrupt. They are corrupt. They're worse than a lot of those who they call in our communities corrupt and criminals. That's exactly what they are. The kiddo calling the pot black, man. You know, you live in a glass house, you should not throw stones. But that's what they do because they don't think we know any better. They don't think we know any better. Yeah, no reparations, no check, no fucking vote. Excuse my language, y'all. Raymond Cole said, man, it doesn't matter what title we identify with. We are all melanated people with a common lineage. Tell the truth. We all have the same oppressive system on our backs. And that's something we talk about here quite often when we touch bases with the people. Now, you tell me something you've been through that I haven't been through. You tell me some form of oppression that you've experienced that I have not. You know, I can't tell you, any of you, something I've been through, and you cannot say, oh, me too. Yeah, we're in that Me Too era, man. We all are going through this, all of us, you know, but they would love to separate us. You know, that divide and conquer mentality is in full effect, man, and we got to get beyond that shit. That's just real spit, y'all. Real spit. Raymond goes on to say, Raymond Cole says, man, I've been studying so my content can be diverse, yet educational and informative. I want to reach our people and change the mindset for people to see what I see, as well as what you've been shown. Yeah, that's the way to go, bro. Raymond Cole goes on to say, man, you see, I don't think nothing is in the voting process for our people. Remember, it was against the law for us to vote. And I figure it was because voting was reserved for the real citizens of America in order to make us feel as if we were a part of the voting process they passed in 1965, the Voting Rights Act. You know what I mean? But it was a hoax. All right. Our vote behind the scenes still won't count. And a good way of finding that out, a good way of knowing whether or not it does, is to demand something for it first before they get it. That'll be the telltale sign, you know. But what you're touching on, Raymond Cole, is significant because, again, once they created this system of inclusion, they call it integration. That's when, you know, hey man, hey, we were got hook, line, and sinker. You know, we were got fishes on the hook, man. They got us. And as soon as we were okay with wanting to be okay with being integrated. That's when, man, hey, it went all bad for us. See, segregation, though it was bad, let's not, you know, get it twisted. It still presented a system that they didn't infringe and argue down, and we didn't infringe because they didn't want us to in theirs. That was the beauty of it, man. That shit worked for us all the way up until they saw that they made a bad choice by segregating us. You know, they were able to see that we were go-getters. We were able to get the job done no matter what the circumstance or condition. It did not matter. It should not matter to this day. we still have the wherewithal, man, to do some shit, man, in spite of the shit that's being done to us. We can get it done. I think that we just decided, you know, hey, man, it's easier just to go with the flow than to fight the current, you know? That's where we making our mistake at. But yeah, Raymond, you got to, you hitting the nail on the head with that part right there, man. The system is never designed to be inclusive to us. We were never really a part. We are not a part of this system, no matter what they tell us, y'all. It's so evident. Again, I refer to the Constitution. Go check it out. And in it, we are still considered 3/5 of a human being. No one has ratified it. No one has amended it. It has been that way. They're finna celebrate the birthday of this so-called country, 250 years, something to that effect, coming up real soon, July, I think. In that amount of time, no politician, white nor black, has attempted a push to have the that part of the Constitution amended and corrected, notifying, clarifying, and saying in no uncertain terms, they ain't got to say it like this, but we're more human than any one of them. Just take out the part where we're only 3/5. No one has stepped up and done that. All right. This is a good sign or indication that should be to any of us that those of our people who are in politics don't mean us no damn good. That should be one of the first things each and every one of them go to battle for or against to change. You know, they don't do that. They don't do that. So, yeah, man. Motivation. Hey, Motivation Murray. He said, man, happy Tuesday, big bro. Right back to you. Salute, bro. Good to see you up in here. This is the day, man, for traditions and trials. This is motivational. You know what I'm saying? To say the least. Your name says that, but hey, man, this podcast, it should be every bit of that. Motivational, if not inspiring. All right. We turn heads worldwide, man. We do the damn thing. We inspire the world, y'all. Damn, that's some real spit. Look, man, this thing would not function without us. And I don't mean just us like right now in numbers and, you know, just black people, you know, but what we've brought to the table, no one can compare in terms of what we've brought to society to make it function. Without us, guess what? They still be in the dark ages. You know, they'll be in, let's say, around, they'll still be functioning in the 16th, 17th century without us. Without us. In spite of the lies they told, you know, especially coming in the industrial age, you know, when the 19th century started to pick up in terms of technology on the low end, that's all us. Yeah, they've stolen all those inventions and claimed them for themselves, you know, all that stuff, you know. But yeah, without us, man, they're nothing. You know, we turn heads, or we make the world go round. Put it like that. We make the world go round, bro. No doubt. Appreciate your motivation, Murray. Raymond Scholes said, man, the true votes are cast by electors who exercise democracy within the Republic of America. They are the ones who serve America's domestic and global interests. We are not a part of that agenda. And again, we've said this time and again, when it comes to the vote, especially now because he's speaking about the electoral vote. We really have nothing to do with that, but we're told, or our people are told, that when it comes to the presidential election, we're the ones who will decide who will be the next president. That's a lie. Pure and simple. Not one of us is a part of that, what they call the electoral vote. That vote that we are a part of, or the people who vote is a part of, I don't vote, is called the popular vote. All right. It has no weight, no bearing in determining who becomes the president. Trust that. It's all about the electoral vote. And again, those votes come from individuals who pretty much guide the direction of the country, who pretty much have the say in the interests of the country, the security of the country, all that shit that matters to keep the country going. You, the voter, have nothing to do with that vote. You're not an electoral voter. So really, technically, your vote means squat when it comes to the presidential election. Your vote only counts when it comes to the Senate, Congress, you know, our state representatives, our council people, our assembly people, things of that nature. President, you have nothing to do with it. So let's get over that lie. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. It'll do you some good. B60 said, man, tell him again, man. Break it down, Raymond Skull. Raymond Skull, break it down. All right, Henry, we see you, man. Peace and blessings to everyone. He said, Mr. Bub and the chat. Right back to you, Mr. Henry. We see you up in here. It's an honor always, man, to have each and every one of y'all up in here. Yeah. Raymond Skull goes on to say, oh, yeah, the Democratic Party was pro-slavery, and the Republicans weren't for us either. Lincoln even said he felt the white race was superior to us. Blacks' silence would speak loud. So, yeah, we had this conversation before, and appreciate you bringing it back up, because we are talking about the vote and how those in power really see us. The Republican Party, man, they only brought about this Emancipation Proclamation bull crap because they knew that the country was going to kill itself over us. We were in between both. You know, Lincoln said, man, if he didn't have to choose whether freeing us or keeping us captive to keep the Union, to keep the United States together, he wouldn't think twice about freeing us. He'd have kept us slaves if they could have just got along, the North and the South. All right. So yeah, that shit they pop about Lincoln and, you know, loving blacks, finna, it's crap, man. It's all BS. It's all BS. Henry said, man, heuristic in simple words, a mental shortcut, rule of thumb, or intuitive method that helps humans and computers solve problems or make decisions. It simplifies complex tasks. Thank you for that, brother. You said corrupt is right, brother Bub. Hey, man, for anybody, again, I think that the last non-corrupt or uncorrupt politician in terms of politics strictly was John F. Kennedy. And I won't give him the whole 100% that he was not corrupt, but, you know, and just in terms of transparency when it comes to politics, he was the last one. There hasn't been one since. Even Jimmy Carter was a piece of shit president, you know, Southern gentleman, you know, Georgian, didn't give a squat about us. You know what I mean? Played the role because that's what they do. They do their bidding. They're put in the office, man, to make sure that they promote and advocate the interest of the super rich, those who control and run everything. But John F. Kennedy was the last legitimate, you know, principle, maybe even had a lot more integrity than all the others, than any other president. And as a result of his not being able to be corrupted like the rest of them, he paid with his life. He paid with his life. Y'all go check him out, what he said about Israel. And right after that, see how they did him. But yeah, so yeah, man, they are corrupt. Don't doubt it for one bit. Motivation Murray said, man, big bro, prison guards, Chinese and Southern California moved all around me. I know, I really do. Big bro, prison guards, Chinese and Southern California moved all around me. I know, I really do. I'm lost there, bro. Help me break that down for me. Did I miss something? I missed something. Okay, anyway. All right, Poke, what it do, loved one? He said, what it do, man, to the UTG. I'm about to work out, to the show, Bub, and hope all is well to the RGC. Focus on the focus. Let's get it. There you go. Damn, man, there you go. That workout. I was telling somebody today, I've started this, not a diet, but not a diet per se. Just, you know, fruits and vegetables, you know, no more fish, you know. no sweets, no salts, no sugars, shit like that. And I feel different, actually. I feel better. That energy, that desire, to want to, get back on the get down, man, is in me. So we decided, because I've been saying for the last 2 weeks, I'm gonna start. So we decided, we got it on our calendar. We up and running, man, with this thing, man. We're gonna bring that, incorporate that into this whole get out. So I'm saying that to say, man, I appreciate you mentioning that, Pope. That health is wealth. You know what I mean? Appreciate you dropping that in there. Yeah. So yeah, man, that's what it is, you guys. I was looking at some shit today, and speaking of politics, and this is some serious shit, depending on how you view it, your perspective. So American farmers, white American farmers are going through it right now, right? A lot of them are faced with bankruptcy. The farms, these farms that feed not just America, but also other parts of the world, are going through are in the process of going through bankruptcy. Their farms have failed because of the Trump policy in terms of immigration, illegal immigration, and migrant workers. All right. What I've noticed is this, or what I've concluded is this: that's all a play. Attacking illegal immigration or migrant workers is a play against white American farmers. I'm gonna tell you why I see it like that. Because technology is about to take over in ways a lot of us don't really comprehend. We haven't grasped just yet the seriousness of technology, especially AI technology. Now, I mentioned technology and I mentioned farms because farms are in America some of the largest parcels of land, in the country. Farms are granted 200, acres, or even more, vast, acreage, you know what I mean? 500, just acreage. Technology nowadays, especially when we're talking about AI and what it's going to represent, but more precisely, data centers that are going to be needed to uphold or allow these or this technology to exist on a scale that those who are calling themselves creating technology to exist, you need acreage. They're called data centers, and data centers need anywhere between 200 to 500 acres of land. Now, it's odd that I think it's a play, and I'll tell you why again. It's odd that the federal government won't go and utilize land that isn't inhabited. You know what I mean? That's away from civilizations, towns, cities, things like that. They prefer these data centers to be located in areas where there is population, there are towns, in cities, nearby. They got to be close because that's where the usage of these data centers, where they store all this information, whatever need to be. They got to be close. Farms provide exactly what data centers need. All right. And that's not to say, I don't think the play is to wipe out all farmers. I think this play is designed to wipe out whatever they've already devised in terms of their plan, those farms that will serve the needs of these AI or these tech corporations. In 5 years, they're predicting by 2030, technology will be ran by AI systems, period, point blank. In order for that to be feasible, in order for that to occur, they have to have data centers already established. All right. So that means they don't have to go and clear forests. They don't have to go level mountains, they can use farmland for that. All right. So by passing certain policies in terms of immigration and immigrants, immigrant laws. They take the workforce, the labor force from these farmers, these white farmers. And as a result of that, these white farmers are put in a bind. Not only do these illegals or these migrant workers, they get paid very little, farmers say big buku money, but they also tax them. Now, without them, no taxes coming back in, things of this nature. Now, couple that with the fact that Donald Trump has started a trade war or a tariff war against certain countries that spend billions of dollars with these farmers. It's a cold play, man. I don't know if I'm expressing it good enough for y'all or what, but China, for instance, China was spending over $2 billion with American farmers just for soybean, all right? $2 billion annually. That money farmers use, or they're being repaid for the money they expended or they spent to, get the crops ready to start to plant the crops, to till the land, the whole nine, to pay the workers, blah, blah, blah. That money, is given back to the farmers. Farmers spend their money. Once they spend their money, they're waiting on the government to pay them their money back. The government, though, has decided to cut all deals with China. And this is just soybean. You got to talk about tomatoes, strawberries, things of that nature, those types of fruits and vegetables that are also imported or bought from the United States from other countries. When you kill those deals, then you kill the farmer. Now, as a result, the farmer can't pay his mortgage. They have to go bankrupt. They have to apply, file for bankruptcy. The bank comes in, gets the property. Banks don't keep property. They liquidate assets. They don't keep that shit. So who are they selling it to? Who's going to be in a position to buy 500 acres of land? Those who need data centers, these technological giants, these corporations who are in the business of AI. Today, we see issues in certain states where data centers are springing up and the people didn't even know that they were supposed to come. These data centers are also environmental health hazards. So this is why a lot of, cities and towns and cities don't want them near. Noise pollution, all kind of shit. Waste of energy, a drain on, the power grid, shit like that. But they're springing up. I just watched one the other day. The lady drove for miles before she even, passed this place. And it was lit up like daylight. They have them, these data centers need to be placed in places or locations where, again, they serve those systems that need its output. Farms are the best setup for these data centers. And again, I'm not saying that the government, I don't think the play is to wipe out all white farmers or farmers, period. They have, I think they already decided what farms, not necessarily the farm, but what they can sacrifice in terms of a crop or a harvest to get done what they need to be done. And we see it happening in real time. Data centers are popping up in farmlands in real time. So again, don't take my word for it. Go check it out. Data centers or data storage facilities. These are huge facilities. I mean, huge. Sitting up on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres of land. And the best place to put them is farmland. So that's me. I put that out there first. You heard it here first. I think this whole thing about immigration and them doing what they're doing was a play to hurt certain farmers in America because they need that land to establish these data centers, man, that are going to be needed for these tech giants who are bringing AI into play. All right, and I'm going to leave that alone. I hope it made sense, but I know damn sure it do to me. I'm going to drop some on that tomorrow. I've been working it out, writing it out. I think that is the play. That is the play. And I haven't heard anyone else say this, but I hear everybody talking about data centers and how they not only take up vast, areas of land, but they also are an environmental issue, you know, and a lot of people don't want them, and yet they still are springing up. So mark my words, you heard it here first. All right, let's move on, man. Rakufu said, man, a heuristic is a practical problem solving method. Okay, I read that already. Okay, I don't know how I went down that far. Anyway. All right, Remisco said, man, commenting to you and Poke, I've been working out too and been feeling the difference. Like my equilibrium is firm. Yeah, it's funny you talk about equilibrium and everything. You know, all this stuff is connected. Our equilibrium has a lot to do with magnetic force and all this stuff. You know what I mean? Me and my wife were talking the other night about a lot of what has been put before us in terms of you know, corporations being able to sell a product, and this product though interferes with our connections. It could be our equilibrium, our balance. You know what I mean? We could be off kilter because a whole lot of stuff that is going on that we partake in that is not natural or works against our natural selves. Shoes, for instance, is actually a barrier, you know, between the soles of our feet and the magnetic force and energy of the ground, you know, the surface of the earth. You know, the way we sleep on mattresses also is an interference in the way our bodies function. You know, it creates a lot of issues for us. You know, there's a lot going on, man. The products that, again, that we consume, you know, have a lot to do with it. You know, the foods we eat and stuff like that, the things we drink, the air we breathe, you know, the things we put on our bodies. A lot of our sisters and brothers, they love using cosmetics, the word cosmetic, all right? But they love putting these chemicals on them, clogging up their pores and stuff like that. You know, all that stuff, man. It is in effect, or I've been used to saying lately, these are manufactured issues that are created that hurt and harm us. You know what I mean? A lot of us don't get that yet. But yeah, man, once we get back to the norm, we get back to certain traditions, certain we go back to doing things a certain way, we'll see the difference. We'll see the change. You know what I mean? But we have to be willing to make that effort, you know, to go towards or do those things towards making ourselves healthy. Again, our health is our number one wealth. It is not dollar money. It is not money. Our health is our wealth, you know? So yeah, appreciate you up in there like that, Roscoe. Can we say, man, what about baked fish, Big Bub? I don't eat beef or pork for some years now. So we have one of our sisters, Lasite, you know, this is one of our sisters, man, from the community out of, you know, out of the dark side from the Brims, you know, sister, you know, elevated herself and got herself out that situation, doing great things, you know, helping the people in terms of their health and their spirit. You know what I mean? She's a shamanic person. She, you know, she works with not just natural but holistic remedies, and you know, she identify issues with people and problems, you know, with them or that are going on in their bodies. Because of her, we know now, my wife and I, what foods to eat that would be beneficial to our circulatory system, our blood, you know what I mean, that flows in our veins. We're not supposed to eat everything. A lot of us don't realize that your diabetes and all this shit that's killing us, high blood, is because of what we're eating. You know, so we went through her and she, you know, she did ran her tests on us and showed us what our, you know, not only we knew our blood types, but what is good for our blood type, you know, what foods to eat, especially fruits and vegetables. Come to find out, I can't eat a lot of the vegetables and fruits that I like, you know, and it shocked me to learn this, you know, and in terms of what her knowledge, her skill is in regards to this, it shows you how certain fruits and vegetables, even when we think they're healthy, actually work against certain organs or certain processes in our bodies. So we appreciate that, sister. Now, in terms of fish, I found out there's all kinds of fishes I was eating, I'm not supposed to eat. You know, I'm not supposed to eat. And for one, let's be real. You know, you already said it. You know, you said baked fish. Fried foods is something we shouldn't be eating, you know. But those who produce these greases and oils that we fry foods in and all this other stuff, man, hey, they don't want you to know that, man, because, you know, you learn this, you stop eating fried foods, that mean they go out of business, you know. So, but yeah, baked fish, I learned a long time ago, baked fish, you know, or seared, you know, those fishes that are not necessarily cooked in oil, but, you know, seared on the skillet or something with a little olive oil, grapeseed, or something like that, man, is, you know, is actually healthy as long as you don't overdo it. That's something, you know, I get a lot of. Well, I haven't ate fish in a couple of weeks now. It's been a couple of weeks. But when my wife prepares my fish, you know, and me, I'm a salmon fan. I love salmon. I love it, you know, very healthy, you know what I mean? But salmon, trout, stuff like that, um, red snapper, you know, there are certain fishes, you know, that I can eat. No shellfish, you know what I mean? No shrimp, oysters, clams, you know, scallops, shit like that. I can't eat no more, you know. Like damn. But yeah. I can't tell you for sure. I can holler at the sister because she comes in. She was with us hanging out the other night. She more than likely is probably listening now, and she's not peculiar about who she deals with, but she's the type of sister you got to respect it. She picks and chooses based upon that individual's, you know. I would guess energy, you know, and not only that, but who that individual knows or who was recommended who recommended, you know, you to her or whatever, you know, vice versa, her to you. So yeah, that's something, you know, she can speak on way better than I can, you know, way better. You know, again, certain like nuts and shit I love, like walnuts, Brazil nuts, you know, all that shit, man. Come to find out I can't eat, you know, certain nuts, man. I can't eat certain legumes, certain beans. Certain beans I love. Can't eat them. So, but again, I feel great, you know. I was telling my brother-in-law, I was telling Drew the other day, I was like, shit, man, I feel good, man. You know, I actually feel good, you know, so that it is. I mentioned the other day that I wasn't feeling right. I think that was, you know, my body was going through something, you know, it was kicking out whatever it needed to kick out. So, you know, that's what that was, I think. But at this stage, I'm great, you know. Got a birthday coming up, man, soon. I'm appreciating that, man. I'm, you know, so it's all good, bro. All good. So yeah, that is, bro. Um, like I said, I could by tomorrow night, Henry, I'll have a greater understanding. I'll be able to impart to you a greater understanding of what this process is called and everything. And I'll, you know, text the sister and see if she's interested in even dealing with you, you know, whatever the case may be. All right. I'll present that to you that way. All right. Just out of respect first. You feel me? Queen Nzinga say, man, I think you are on to something there. And in reference to what, Queen Nzinga, what I was talking about in terms of the immigration issue and how they made that into this big old issue, that part. And furthermore, where that's concerned, the coldest part about it that got these white farmers on board with the immigration issue, you know, ICE and Border Patrol coming in and getting rid of them, was Trump said these were American jobs. We're going to get rid of these illegals and these migrant workers, and we're going to get these jobs to Americans. And for whatever reason, Trump did use the word black, you know what I mean? He said something to that effect, you know. I guess gave the white farmers the impression that blacks would be returning back to the fields. Blacks didn't get that memo, you know, and not only that, but think about it, man. If they did, I can't see no blacks coming back to nothing like that to begin with, for a couple of reasons. One, come to find out the pay was crap and you're working in harsh conditions, you know, back-breaking work. You know, our ancestors know that all too well. I'm pretty sure that's the reason why a lot of blacks were offended, you know, even for some white farmers to suggest it. You know, that's not something, you know, we're going to be a party to. But the pay, so whatever amount of money they were giving them, $4, $8, $10 for 10 hours work a day, you know, blacks going to already be, that's going to be a problem. You know, and I was talking to someone a couple of months ago about this issue, and they were saying, hey, if they're not talking about it, they're not starting from $30 an hour in 8 hours a day. 10 is optional. You know how we do overtime, you know, it depends on how we feel. Then, hey, man, they ain't talking about nothing. Another individual said, no, man, 30 shit, $45 an hour, 8 hours a day. Well, I'll take the 45 if it's $10, you know, 10 hours a day, but anything less than that, man, they tripping, you know. And I understood that, you know, and I still couldn't see a whole lot of black folk going to do that shit. Not to say some wouldn't, but you would have to most definitely pay a brother or sister to go and do that type of work in that type of heat and humidity, you know, that back breaking shit, man. You come on, man, you playing with yourself. Ain't nowhere in the world brother or sister gonna go and do that type of work for no fucking, excuse my language, for no $10 an hour, 10 hours a day. You stupid, you know. And then couple that with the fact that you want to treat people how you want to treat them, man. You got to be crazy. That's every bit of $50 an hour, you know, straight up. But anyway, so they were sold. Trump told them these are American jobs. We're going to bring Americans and fill them, those positions, those gaps with American workers. I don't know why the white people thought that he meant black. Trump probably said they were black jobs or blacks were losing jobs. He did mention something or say something to that or something to that effect, you know. In any respect, they bought it hook, line, and sinker. Went along with, you know, the immigration policy that Trump pushed. Boom. Saw their farmers, saw their workers, their laborers be chased off, you know, detained, you know, corralled and arrested, took into detention facilities, whatnot. And they thought immediately those jobs will be filled. A week or two later, for some of them, a month later, they saw their crops rotting in the fields. Weren't no blacks coming to apply for those jobs. And they were asking, where are the blacks? They wouldn't send nobody else, you know. Yeah, that's so funny to me. They got to be stupid. Hey, man, they got to be stupid as a brick, man, to think that that was going to be, you know, the get out. But again, I think it was a play on the Trump administration of those who run Trump, a play to put these farms in bankruptcy, have them have to file for bankruptcy to the weaker farms of those who really depended on illegal labor to go into bankruptcy. Banks get the farm, banks sell the farm. I think this shit is a play. It's a play, you know. Now, and I'm gonna tell you why I think it's a play. Let Trump, the Trump administration, Trump and his administration tell it, as well as statistics. There were over 11, 12 million illegal aliens in the country, undocumented illegals. They didn't remove 1 million mugs, man. All right? They didn't. They didn't. Hey, like, you know, just let me say this right now. I can give a spit one way or another who they take and who they, you know, let stay. It don't make no never mind to me. You know, it don't make no never mind to me because I think that in spite of them being here or not, we're gonna still be up against it. They still have something in store for us, whether they're here or not, man. You know, and whatever they seem to be wanting to put into effect or whatever that plan is, you know, that we see playing out, you know, amongst other demographics in society. Those are just, you know, what you would call, you know, test shoots. You know, they testing the waters, see how this shit work, you know, before they figure out they're gonna come and do something up. A lot has been going on in the news. You know, we got a brother supposedly, and I think that's another play, wanted to assassinate, you know, this idiot, the president. You know, his brother out of wherever he's from, Hawthorne, somewhere around there. Man, this is some bull crap, man. Now, what we need to be mindful of It's what's coming down the pipes as a result of that. Because now, no matter how they want to, hey man, that was a black dude. That was a black dude. So just prepare, man. Get ready. Yeah, that shit is all a play, man. I don't care what nobody's saying. Y'all heard it here first. This immigration shit, man, is a play, to wreak havoc on American farmers. Some of them are going to fold. And as a result of them having to file for bankruptcy, losing their property, that generational thing they had going on, part of their heritage, to the bank. The bank's going to sell it. Those who are going to buy it are those who are bringing in, who are heralding in this new way of life, man. Technology, AI. They need that land, man. So y'all trust me on that. Enough said. Move on. So Queen Nzinga said, I think you're on to something there. Thank you for that. Raymond Scott said, damn, these people think years ahead as a child. Damn, these people think years ahead. As a child, I heard that in the future, computers would run everything, and now we're actually seeing it happen. Yeah, and we talk about this often enough, man. They have think tanks. That shit they're doing, man, listen, man, this shit ain't got nothing to damn do with people coming out of coming from Mexico, man, or South America, or anywhere else around the world. The damn country was built on illegal immigration, man, period, point blank. All right, come on, man. This is a play, man. This is a play being put in effect, man. Our business, our responsibility is to understand what the hell this shit is really about, why they doing it. These Mexicans been coming up in here, man. All these South Americans, they've been coming, man. This ain't nothing new, and especially for those of us who come up, we've been watching this shit take place, man, since the late 70s. We've been watching them come. Some of us remember the influx of those out of Asia, Vietnam, Cambodia, coming up in here, be they legal or not. A lot of us recall seeing the influx, just as a lot of us recall seeing the influx of Mexicans, people from South America. It's nothing new. This thing didn't become an issue to about maybe 10 when Obama got to talking that shit. Immigration, that's when this thing started coming to be. It started coming into play for real, for real. A lot of people don't even know Obama, man, deported and detained more illegal aliens than Trump did. Yeah, y'all need to do y'all homework, man. This a play. This a play. That's all I got to say about that. Anyway, what they about to do, man, is set up the artificial intelligence world, man. That's it. That's what's coming. That's what's coming, man. That's what's coming. Polk said, man, what it do, Raymond Skull, man? I haven't gotten to check any of your recent dialogues out. Not because I chose not to, but the redirection in my life while battling to stay relevant causes me to position myself, all right? Being on outside looking in, all right? We were raised in the inside, and for some reason, and for me, it caused a lot of time missed because we got to relax on the inside and couldn't see the lessons unless, hold on, we were on the inside of prison. So I'm taking a page to allow myself to see from the outside of things. And let me tell you, I see clearly. That's why we make time for UTG and dialogue with Roscoe. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. All right. All right, Craig Johnson, what it do, loved one? Good to see you back up in here amongst us, man. You're going to say, I believe that they are looking to starve us since we're so since we're so reliant on government instead of self-sufficient. We can be controlled by our bellies. Like you said before, most fruit don't even have seeds. And we're the biggest losers in the farming industry. Yeah, man, another thing, great point. A lot of what is farmed in America actually gets imported. A lot of it. A lot of what comes into America in terms of fruit and vegetables and stuff gets imported. A lot of what's grown gets exported. We don't even know that. They talk this crap, man, about the American farmland, America and its farms feeding America. That's not true. That's not true, y'all. A lot of what we eat, we see in our supermarkets or in their supermarkets, are foods, fruits and vegetables that are imported here from all over. One of the biggest importers of things that we eat here in America come from, guess where? Their number one fans, y'all. Guess where? Israel imports a lot of stuff that we consume, a whole lot. It makes you wonder where they import it here. Where's that stuff marketed at? Being that Israel is one of them countries that said that the black youth is its greatest existential threat to them. Not Hamas, not Hezbollah, not Palestinians, not Arabs, the black youth. So where's that stuff going? Where are they putting, what supermarkets are they putting that stuff in? Something to think about, man. We're not really paying attention, and only because, though, again, yeah, man, you gotta recognize a master plan when you see one, and for the most part, it takes us as individuals to fall back a little bit, man. Just fall back, like Poke was just saying, so we can just really visualize what's happening, so we can see this shit. Let's step out of the box so we see inside it. Let's remove ourselves, man. So give us enough, now we got a better vantage point, and let's see what's really going on. Shit is happening. The shit is happening in real time, man. So again, man, these farms, man, yeah, they don't, most of these farms, maybe half of them don't grow food that stay here in the United States. Most of the foods that we eat are imported from other countries. It's a cold game plan, man. They got put in that they have in effect. It's a cold game plan. And then to Brother Craig's point, we're in a situation, man, we don't even see how dire our situation is. They could starve us tomorrow if they wanted to. We have no control over our ability to stay alive, to feed ourselves. We were just talking about this the other day, man, how we are dependent for everything, man, we have, for everything we get, for everything we consume. We're dependent. We represent in no form of fashion, in no way, independence, autonomy. We don't have that, man. We're living in food deserts and water deserts. If they decide to close the supermarkets and put the National Guard in front of them, shoot to kill anybody that try to come past a certain perimeter, they can do that. And the majority of us, the majority, would starve. Die of thirst. Starve first and then die of thirst. We're independent. We are dependent on these people for everything. That's a problem. That's a problem. So yeah, it's no big deal to them, man, to shut down 10, 20 farms in this country. This is a vast piece of land. This continent, North America, in terms of the United States of America, the 48, is huge, man. Man, in every state, there is unpopulated areas, man, that's never been populated. That's never been populated. You know what I mean? I'm saying that to say, man, just imagine them knocking down in every state 2 farms. And in each state, at some perimeter, at some point, north or south, east or west in that state, they put a data center. That means then that two farms in each state. That's so doable, man. That's so doable. And for the most part, most of us wouldn't even recognize it. We wouldn't even notice they were gone. No more than that, no more than we would notice that data centers have been, put in their place. A lot of us wouldn't even know that shit. And again, the issue with a lot of these data centers are environmental concerns, health concerns, straight up, but yeah, that's what it is, man. We are at the mercy of people that don't give a damn about us, and we cool with that shit. That's what get me. It ain't even the fact that Trump and them got to play to where they doing what they doing to their own, just so that they can establish more businesses and corporations, continue to dominate the world. You know what I mean? It's the fact that most of us know this shit, man, and we ain't doing nothing. We don't even focus on that shit, man. They got us locked in on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. That's all that matters to us, and for the most part, some of us, we get so caught up in it, we even forget to eat, drink water, take care of your other, priorities. We so caught up. That's how bad this shit is, but it's real. It's real. All right, let me move on, man. Let me move on. All right, so Brother Craig, man, says, yeah, we're the biggest losers in the farming industry, no doubt. Quinn Nzinga said, man, you can't even get a job at these data centers. The modern data centers are highly automated. Very few people for a center so big. Truth to power, And they talk this crap about people learning AI and going into the AI field. Listen, man, that shit ain't gonna be that. It's just not. The only way that shit is gonna serve any of us is if we decided again to come together, unify, man, and then create our own systems and create them in such a way to where they'll be able to combat systems that would be a threat to any of us. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the play, man. And they don't expect us to think in terms of that shit, They expect us to think, oh, man, the world is changing. AI is taking over. I got to hurry up and go learn AI so I can have a job. Not even seeing the bigger picture, man. AI is about to ruin all that, bro. All that. So when we're talking about our kids, we have to be able to, man, trust and know. We have to be able to visualize, man, beyond our kids. Try to understand what the future holds or what's coming down the pipes for them so that we can lace them, give them a greater understanding in terms of how to not just survive this shit or exist in it, but how to overcome it. See, that's their gamble, that we're not looking at it like that. We're looking at it like, oh, how do I get in? How do I fit in? How can I have a job for this corporation, for these super, super rich people? How can I stay in their employ? That's what they know most of us are thinking, because that's the thought. That's the thought. Most of these guys who have these corporations, you guys, they go and they learn this shit, engineering, business and shit, technology. But they also go and they take psychology. They get master degrees in this shit. They want to understand or come to know, come to understand the way the mind thinks, the human mind. So they know how to implement shit without too much blowback, resistance, rebellion. They'll know how to develop some shit and market it to our asses without any flack. That's the program, man. And we on this side, man, we caught up in stupid shit. The whole time we caught up in some stupid shit while they steady trying to find ways, to run the world. I see their future when they're done, controlling us to whatever extent they want to. Guess what? They're going to be at each other's throats. It's just how that go. You know, it's a lose-lose no matter how we look at it, especially if we don't get it together. You know, in order, you know, come on, man, just to stop the system in terms of what's coming down the pipes for our people, got to stop these individuals. You know, then you got to control the politicians. And hey, man, this shit it's a cold fight. But see, we don't think like they think. We don't want to. Too much responsibility, too many sacrifices. A lot of them take one for the team, man. A lot of us, we take ones for the team, man. But damn, ain't nothing. What the hell? What was that for? A lot of us die and go to prison for some shit that our families don't even reap the benefits of. A lot of them, they do. You know, you guys paying attention? All these scientists that are dying, and they're dying in the United States recently. Renowned scientists are coming up dead. Now, these same scientists, chances are, in the wake of their death, it depends, their families coming up, they're going to reap some type of benefit. They're going to get something as a result of it. You know, our people, though, again, we die for nothing. We vote for nothing. We go to prison for nothing. We got nothing. You know, while these suckers is sitting up plotting and planning on everything and got us thinking some stupid shit, man. They got us thinking, oh, they tripping on the Mexicans. Oh, man, it's bigger than that. You got to know that, man. Each and every one of us, man, it is our obligation to know better. You know, y'all heard this shit before. A whole lot of y'all believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. What that means then is some trickeration going on. You ain't seeing shit, man, in terms of what's really happening. And you don't know, you ain't heard shit in terms of what's really being said. You know, that saying, that phrase, oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And if you understand that saying, oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg, then you understand what's beneath the water table. It's bigger. It's way bigger than what we see or what we think we see and what we think we know. That's some real spit, man. And we sitting there, we playing these games. And them people, man, they not playing, man. Every day it's a plot going down. It's a play going down every day. Back to the brother that supposedly, you know, look, man, y'all need to watch that video. Frame by frame. Don't even pay attention to him running in the place with a 12 gauge. Come on, man. Come on, man. What brother? And my intent is to go and do harm to that idiot would have a gauge instead of a sniper's rifle, an assault weapon, you know, long rifle, short rifle, you know. Come on, man. Get the hell out of here. But again, don't pay attention to him. Watch that shit, man, frame by frame. Look at the so-called individuals, the Secret Service. Look how they react and respond. Bullshit. Then go into the dining area where they are on the dais, on the podium. Look at that shit. That shit fake as fuck. But now they got this brother as the face of an attempted assassin against this racist bastard. And he already got it in for us because you know why? He been told the truth about us. That's why he playing ball. He see what they told him. They showed him. They showed him. He know what it is with us. He knows what it is with us. His first acts was to fire over 300,000 sisters. Come on, y'all. Come on, man. talking about Doge, the Department of uh, Government Efficiency. Get the fuck out of here, man. They waste billions every day. And not monthly, not yearly, not annually. Every day they waste billions, some of which are going to their pockets, right? Man, they fired, and 300,000 is, trust and know this, man, it's the low number. They fired all them sisters, got rid of DEI and affirmative action, attacked HBCUs, attacked monuments and statues and museums that represented the Black struggle, the Black experience. Come on, man, this shit, this is not rocket science, man, for real, if we're paying attention. And again, so what if it was? Man, we possess the greatest minds on the face of the planet. Couple that, man, with our spirits, if they're awake, they got problems. Shit, man, this shit is some real shit, though. It's some real shit. Let me move on, man. I gotta go all day with this shit. Raymond Scott said, man, I've heard that we can reground ourselves if we stand outside on the bare ground and place both hands on a tree and feet on soil. Yeah, it's a connection, you know? Again, so the coldest part of what's happening is we've been conditioned to not know what we really about or who we really are. That's the coldest part. And again, they know better than we do. They know better than we do. They know that our electrical connection or energy, our output, our amps, watts, whatever the hell we want to call it, is greater than all of theirs. You know, they know that trees are like a conduit. You know, it's all electricity. It's all power. That's like plugging your phone into your charger, you know, and being revitalized, man. You know, you talk about, what they call that shit, the Energizer Bunny. That's us. That's us, We just been removed from the connections, man. Again, all these distractions are for something. It's for a reason, y'all. But you can't tell brothers this or sisters this who are out acting ignorant and foolish, not giving a damn on social media, man, just hating each other, disrespecting each other, but have the audacity to be mad at a Mexican when they say the N-word and mean it. It's only possible, it's only doable because they see you, they see us acting in this way, treating each other just like that. It's a whole lot to this shit, man. It's a big play. It's a big play. A lot of little plays, man, but when they all put together, man, it's fragmented. It would seem fragmented, but trust, every piece fits. It's like a puzzle. Big play, big play, big play. They got us, man. And they're going to have us like this until we decide, man, that's enough. Now we had enough. Let's move on, But yeah, there that go, man. It's a whole lot to this shit. Whole lot to this shit, man. All right, folks say, man, folks say, man, but it will be good to see how you've been growing in your podcast. So I will be checking you out tonight or tomorrow. Same here, though, Raymond Scott. You already know what to do, bro. Henry said, man, absolutely, brother. And thank you for that information. Good mental food. Yes, I do watch Dr. Sabi. Yeah, come on, man. Think about that. What they do to that brother? Or anyone like him, you know what I mean? Anyone like him, man. That shit don't need to be told to us, man. That's a problem. That represents a problem for them. For any of us to go beyond what they want us to know, see, hear, think, feel is a problem. And we the only ones that don't get that. Raymond Scott said, man, Dr. Sabi said too that we must heal from a cellular level Will the psych be back on the podcast anytime soon? Yeah, we're supposed to be lining up. Get the sister back up there, man. Her and a couple more. But you know, the psych, she comes in, she taps in. She, you know, for the most part, she might just be listening right now. She don't necessarily feel like she got to come and comment, but in any respect, I'm sure going to mention this to her. Yeah, but we're going to get her on the podcast soon. In fact, that is soon. I take that back. That is sooner than expected. Her and another one of our sisters, you know, we're going to bring on. I'll say who she is for later, you know. But yeah, that's a good look, Raymond. Don't worry about it. We're going to have it together, man. You're going to say, I'm sure that she could answer a lot of my questions. Yeah, don't get her started, boy, because she sure can. Okay, Queen Nzinga said something. It was a two-parter? No, it wasn't. All right, Queen Nzinga says, no, these people coming up with a way to get the farmers land. That's it. All right, M13. All right, you know, I'm gonna call you know. What it do, loved one? He said, what's good, fam? Always a bigger agenda. You already know, man. Real spit. Real spit. Good to see you in here. Peace and prosperity to you, man. Cash Money said, man, big bro, greetings to the RGC and family. The rule is he that has gold makes the rules. Yeah, that's what we've been told. But it didn't always be like that. That's not really the way it was or the way it is. You know, that the money thing, the gold, you know, that you know, that's a more of a white thing. That's not to say our people, in terms of our ancestry back in antiquity, didn't, you know, gold was a certain symbol. It represented something. Yeah, no doubt about it. But the real wealth back then, man, was one's knowledge and skill. You know, one's connection with his spirit, you know, his soul. That was the money. That was the wealth, you know, because that was his health. That was everything, you know. Gold, diamonds, jewels, that shit became something to them. Our people looked at that like, you know, these are trinkets, you know. Yeah, they held a certain symbolism. Yeah, no doubt about it. But that it wasn't that like that, bro. That was not their way of get down, you know. Again, theirs, man, their wealth was weighed in knowledge or skills, science, spirituality, shit like that, bro. You know, that became their rule. You know, he that has the gold makes the rules. You know what I mean? Yeah, and that ain't always true. You can have a dumb fuck with a lot of gold. It ain't gonna get him nothing or nowhere but probably dead or broke. You know what I mean? You know, just consider that, you know. It's because you got a lot of gold don't make it or mean that you know exactly what to do with it now, and especially now that we're in a system where gold matters. You know what I mean? Gold is king, you know. Don't mean shit. You got some gold, okay. What kind of mind you got? You know? What are your skill sets? You know? Can you manipulate, maneuver, you know, make this gold in some, you know, come on, you know what I mean? Just because you got it don't necessarily mean you make the rules, you know? It's a whole lot to that shit. Trust. You know, said, man, exactly. I don't know how to pronounce that exactly, but it's real. Definitely got it out for the blacks because we know we the real Hebrews. All right. Yeah. We are the original man, you know, the original human being, man, pure point blank. Pure point blank, man. And I think that again, some of the issue with us is that we have latched on to these attachments in terms of labels that supposed to help us identify who we are, but and to some extent where we come from, you know. My personal opinion is that I think that when we do that and we say we this, that, and the third, and everybody's not on, I think that just more of the same. It creates a situation where, you know, that it's divide and conquer because everybody don't see that like that. You know, there's some of us who say, hey, man, you know what? Yeah, that's fine, damn, respectfully, that's you, boom, boom, boom. But I'm going back to what our ancestors was talking about before they even was a word called Hebrew. See, where's the source? And this is what a lot of us we won't focus on. Everything that we claim to be or that is laid upon us as a claim in terms of who we are or what we are, whatever, it all comes from something. Where's the source of all this? And I bet you we get to the source, it will not reflect that. It won't reflect Christian, Muslim, Hebrew, Israelite. It's going to talk about something that, you know, is going to shed a whole new light on the situation. But again, man, we're in a space and time where those who have everything know better than us. And they know that, hey, man, we can't let them. We're going to keep some Christian. We're going to keep some Muslim. We're going to keep some Hebrew. We're going to keep some atheists. We're going to keep. But we can't let them know where all this shit come from. All of it has a source. It came from something. All of it, bro. You know? And that's part of our problem. We don't know the source. We're being told. We're being taught. We're being taught, you know, scripture, literature, passages from man-made things, you know? And I mean in the last couple of thousand years, last few thousand years. But anything going back 6,000 years, anything going back 7,500 years, anything going back 10,000 years, 25,000 years, 50,000 years, it's been kept from us. There's a reason for that, you know? Most of what a lot of us, the majority of us talk about is surface shit. Yeah, I mean, scratch the surface, man, of what this shit, but what it's really all about, you know, what our lineage really, what it really is, you know? So that's all I got to say about that, man. Ish is happening, bud. You better believe it, y'all. You know, said, man, they don't want to see American Black indigenous culture be the models of the world. We got to start growing as much as possible in backyards from backyards for yards, you know, etc. Yeah, again, all this, man. So, you know, yeah, I think there's a certain truth to shit, man. But again, where did it come from? What's the source? So when we're talking about indigenous, gotta be talking about us. Okay, I'm not arguing none of that. But there's a lineage even connected to that. Where's the source? What source did they come from? Our indigenous brothers and sisters who are here long before anybody else. They got this shit locked away. And the intent is to keep it from us. Again, man, and most people are saying it nowadays, they know more about us than we know about ourselves. There's a reason for that. Shit. You're going to say, you know, most us American chiefs have a natural hiring green thumb. We don't utilize for agricultural skills or utilize for agricultural skills enough. Okay. I was just clowning with my wife about that today, about my green thumb. Like, damn, girl, I touch it, it's gonna grow. It's gonna grow. Henry said, man, sometimes we can afford to. Sometimes when I can afford to, Faircon said, if you have to eat meat, go to a Jewish butcher shop. No chemicals and negative injections, and no pork because it's against their religion. Yeah. You know, but again, all these practices, these traditional cultures, that's our shit. It's our shit, you know? Yeah. It's our shit, man. I got a clip. Let me run this clip right quick. I think it's imperative. I think it's important. Check this out right quick, man. Listen up.
Every black child needs to see this clip from Malcolm X to counter the impact of internalized racism.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
So one day my 9-year-old came home from school and she told me that her darker skinned friend was being bullied by a black boy who had lighter skin. She told me he was making jokes about her skin tone, and she said that she interjected and told him to be quiet, and she talked about how all shades of black is beautiful. So of course I immediately told her and my 7-year-old to sit down, and I showed them that clip right there. They liked the clip so much they kept watching it over and over again, and they started saying it themselves with the same mannerisms Malcolm had. So from there we started talking about anti-black propaganda, media narratives, inclusion, diversity, and we also talked about colorism. So the next day my daughter went back to school and told me that she told that boy that exact same quote from Malcolm, and she educated him on colorism. And she said he had no idea what it was. So it's crazy, right? He had no idea what it was, but he exuded it perfectly. See, if y'all keep thinking your kids aren't ready for conversations about racism, you're going to be losing to the anti-blackness and racist propaganda that they're downloading in their subconscious. So who taught that 9-year-old boy to hate himself and his African features? It's probably the same people that's teaching some of these 9-year-old white kids to hate us.
All right. Now, who taught us all this shit? Who taught us every bit of what we espouse? You know, for the most part, let's be honest, you know, where do we get this shit from? Yeah. Who taught us to hate each other, kill each other, mistreat and disrespect one another, not honor our queens, our mothers, our daughters? Who taught us this shit, man? How to hate our brothers, how to hate each other and ourselves. It's some real shit, man. Again, man, it's a cold play. It's a cold play in effect. It's been going on for a long time. But I think the coldest part that has nothing to do with that play that we know exists, that is being, you know, used against us, is that we know most of what the hell is going on and what's wrong. And yet, again, we continue to participate. We continue to participate in this BS, man. And then ain't nobody, no one, it seems, is willing to look around and see that as a result of any of this, we have nothing. We still don't have an identity. We stuck on colorism. We stuck on hating ourselves more than they do now. They don't got to do jack to us no more. We do it for them. That's how deeply ingrained, indoctrinated this shit is in us. That's how messed up we are, man. You know, we so messed up, we argue about religion to and against one another, rather than saying, damn, man, we the same people. Let's just, you know, let's get together so that we can get it together, so we can find out together. You know, that's what they use. They use that as well. They don't just use colorism and self-hate against each other, ourselves. They use religion. They use religion. Can't nobody doubt that. You know? Who we learn this shit from, man? And to this day, we continue to allow ourselves to be taught, miseducated by these same people. We allow our children to do it. You know, we line them up to be prepared and ready to go into a workforce that serves the master rather than him self, herself, or their own, you know? It's some crazy shit, man. It's crazy, man. All right, appreciate that, Henry. You know, said, man, imagine popping up at these politicians' offices once a week and start checking them. And, you know, can you imagine that, right? And be serious. Every day, a different 5 or 10 people, every day that office is open. Oh, well, so-and-so's not here. That's okay. We'll sit here. Every day. Come on, man. That type of thing we're not doing. We're not doing that. But we'll go meet up, man, at the smoke shop, the corner liquor store, or anytime somebody say pull up for some drama. We quit. We Johnny on the spot. You know, just show an individual, man, we with the business over nothing. Ain't no real business being conducted or handled, but that's how we show up. You know, we showing up to stand on business. But that real business we supposed to be standing up for, showing up to. Ain't nobody doing it, man. We ain't doing that. We should be, but we're not. You know, going to say, man, holding them to do their jobs for the people. You're going to say, you know, I said the same thing. It was a distraction and setup for a bigger plan, for bigger plans. 2 politicians or assassinated the same day. I fell out of plane on Saturday, and the other was shot by a guy pretending to be a police. All right. Going to say, man, they stealing all the money and acting like the people made this $1 trillion debt. Man, tell the truth. And again, now, there's so many different aspects, approaches we could take. I mean, for real, man, that would carry weight. That would, I'm going to tell you, even the media at first would act like they don't see it. You know what I mean? But the shit would be so out there, boom, that they would have to get on board. And they would initially start off talking down on it, you know, speaking to all what they, you know, contend to be the ills or the negatives, you know. But imagine, man, it would do what it's supposed to do. Make people focus now, you know, make them pay attention. Make them pay attention. Fat Rat Playboy, one love, bro. You say peace to you, Big Bub, and to the RGC. Likewise, bro. Peace and prosperity to you and the fam, bro. Good to see you up in here with us. Folks say, man, I was looking at the evening news, and this mentally challenged guy who looked like he was from India, he had killed 2 people, in which the police found out he used Chat GPT to help him get away with the murders. Oh, yeah. That thing gonna have all kind of uses. Coldest part about it, though, they're not gonna be all foolproof, you know, because again, right now we're dealing with what they call ANI, artificial narrow intelligence. So it's not fully coded, but I'm pretty sure they got the AGI, which is the artificial general intelligence, which is the scary one that leads to the ASI, artificial superior intelligence. Anyway, the ANI, yeah, man, that's just some surface shit. You know, that shit ain't foolproof. I tell you all the time, I'll be fucking with that shit, and they change it up, man. I make them change it up. But again, like Brother Al had said, man, when we dealing with them, try to be as specific as possible in terms of the data we're trying to extract from it. But I got it to the point where the thing admitted I haven't been coded with that yet. I don't know that yet, you know? So, yeah, I mean, you know, it's set up to do certain things, but yeah, that thing ain't foolproof. That's what I meant to say about that, man. That thing ain't ready like that, bro. It's on its way. It's on its way. Yeah, you say, folks say, man, Chat GPT's first murder. Fat Rat say, Poke, what's good, my bro? Okay, there you go. You know, say, man, they do the look over I'm trying to understand that anyway. Anyway, they do look something about over there where they do mobs over there with the filthy shit. I think you fucking with that speak as you text shit, bro. Oh, okay. They do moves over there while they do moves over there with the filthy shit. Yeah, they do a movie regardless. They all licks and it's all, you know what I'm saying, plays, you know? Excuse me. Folks said, man, Fat Rat, I have to check in with your podcast when I get a chance. I should have been done that, but late doesn't mean you're not coming, or you will be there because the arrival time is always set. Fat Rat said, man, the original man has a concept. As a concept begins our lesson in the nation. Again, Playboy, Fat Rat Playboy said, man, the original man as a concept begins our lesson in the nation. Speak truth to power, man. Yep. He going to say, Fat Rat said, man, the Bible is a locked book, bub. Without the keys, it blindly indoctrinates into a superstition. Excuse me. Without the keys, huh? All right, Paulette Chapman, welcome to the Get Out. This is Under the Groove Podcast, everybody. I've been neglectful in saying this. Welcome to Touching Bases with the People. This is Under the Groove Podcast. Monday through Friday. This is where we get down with the Get Down. All right. You're more than welcome to be here, Paulette Chapman. Appreciate you being here. You're going to say Mexico and many southern countries accepted or put us into their Supreme Court. That indigenous and blacks are the same as Mexico and other countries from slavery. We are all family. So that's what Paulette Chapman said. All right. I'll read it again in case it sound, chopped up, jumbled like I butchered it. Mexico and many southern countries accepted or put us into their Supreme Court. She said they accepted or put us into their Supreme Court. Their Supreme Court. That indigenous and blacks are the same as Mexico and other countries from slavery. We are all family. All right, we appreciate that comment, Paulette Chapman. And again, you're more than welcome to be here. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your presence, sister. Good looking out right there. Yeah, brother Malcolm X, man. Say, man, I love me son with that. Oh, I love me a sister with natural hair or braids. Ain't that the look, though? Ain't that the look? Fat Rat Playboy said Malcolm had a teacher, though. No knock, but yeah. And again, that goes for each and every one of us. Be that teacher Muslim, Christian, Judean, Jew, or however y'all, have that, is labeled or called. We all do. We all have. We all have. James said, man, coming through from the East Compton side. I'm on deck, Big Bub. What that groove like? I hope all is well, loved one. I appreciate you. Love and respect to you, yours, and this foundation, RGC. RGC, in case you guys who checking in, it is the Royal Group Congregation. Royal. Damn, I'm having that problem again, y'all. But yeah, this is the RGC, man, and you are tuned in to Under the Groove Podcast. Appreciate your presence. All right. Good to see you up in here with us, James. Peace and prosperity, man. Right back out to you, the family, and the CPT car, man. To the blue and the red. Say, man, come on, man. They trying to colonize our mind. We gotta love us like we the hottest commodity on the globe, because we are. Real spit. And I'm just going to say they ain't trying. They doing a good job. They, for the most part, they've done their job. But I don't think it's permanent. I think that, with effort, and again, with that effort, we have to, make some sacrifices, man, to unchain ourselves mentally, not just mentally, but physically as well as spiritually, from this hold or this bond they got on us, It's work, man, no doubt, work. Farad said, man, we are in a protracted war of ideas, bub. Long range penetration, but there's a way out. I don't disagree. From the part of us being a protracted war, it being, a war of ideas, or it being a long range war and everything else. And the fact that we are in a position, little do we know, I think a lot of us, that we are more than capable of getting out of this situation. Again, though, I say, man, it's more about effort and sacrifice. Who's willing? Who's willing? Henry say, man, first they were hanging us from trees. Now we hanging each other, so to speak. Yeah. Again, that's that indoctrination, man. Say, man, we got the culture swaying, innovation and brilliance amongst our own. Yeah, we got all that. I was saying earlier also, when we think about the people in terms of generations and in terms of what those generations brought to the table, we are the generation, the last generation or two, that we're going to talk anywhere between 20 to 40 years. The last 20 to 40 years, man, we brought nothing to the table but death and destruction. That's it. There has been nothing we have presented, damn the world, to the world, but to our people that's useful, that has been, delivered to them in terms of contributions that uplifts, empowers or creates, any type of space, for our potential, our gifts to grow and expand. We've done the opposite. The coldest part about that, though, is a lot of us tend to act as if we've done something, man. We've done something profound. I think not. I think different. I think we've harmed the culture. We've harmed the people. We've harmed the future of the people just based on. Again, man, we can go back. Let's say from the 80s, man. Let's start from 1980. That's a couple of generations. You know what I mean? What have we brought to the table? And please leave out entertainment, sports, shit of that nature. Come on. That's a given. That's a given. We do that. But in terms of, for real, man, something that enables the people to grow from it, to be productive as a result of it, we ain't brought nothing to the table. Real spit. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves. Real spit. Farad said, man, I don't see the value in asking Pharaoh for shit. Pharaoh let us go. Now we refuse to let Pharaoh go. A metaphor. Gotcha. And I tend to, I'm going to tell you something, Farad. This is real spit, man. And I don't know, but I'm going to tell you how my mind works a little bit. I tend to think beyond Pharaoh. I might be significant, those first dynasties to the last real dynasty of melanated pharaohs. But before them, even the ones who did great things for not just, the civilization, but the people, I think beyond them, before them, they had a source too. I want to think, to their source, where they get it from, where they come from. So that's what I think, man, there's something great, man, we're missing that will explain everything. Now, part of the reason, again, is because, a lot of what that knowledge in terms of identifying who we are, where we come from, our history and all that shit that matters is being kept from us. But hey, man, I think beyond pharaohs, before pharaohs, because they had a source. They got it from a source. Everything that they lay claim to, or those Egyptologists lay claim to Pharaoh's building, what have you been before them? before them. You know, you look around this country, you look at certain structures, you know, supposedly natural structures in this country by itself. It was something, bro. It was something there, something, and it has the mark of melanated people on it, you know. It just does, you know. It's something going on, man, you know. But yeah, man, I can appreciate what you're saying, man. I'll read it again. I don't see the value in asking Pharaoh for ish. Pharaoh, let us go now. Pharaoh, let us go now. We refuse to let go Pharaoh. It's a metaphor. I get that. And that's the truth. We don't want to let nothing go of the Pharaohs. Old mentality, that house mentality. Is we all right, boss? All right, you gonna talk about James? You got to read it how I write it, man. With all due respect, my brother. What the hell you talking about? Read what? How you? I'm reading it exactly how you write it. Oh, did I leave out Compton East Side, brother? Is that what I did? Huh? Yeah. Other than that, yeah, I read it just how you read it. Put some more in there, man. Make sure I get this right for you. Okay, you're going to say, I just don't want to. I just don't want no misunderstandings. One word can throw a whole sentence and context off. All right. Well, like I said, I'm going to read it just how you write it. Henry said, man, we all blood cousins. Yeah, you put the two together, man. Ain't that how you supposed to do it? You put the blue with the red and the red with the blue. Blood and cousins and blood, man. Lisa Moore said, be one black first, everybody. Farad said, man, look, one problem I see commonly is that we associate the Arabic language and the religion, Islam, that we gave to the desert Arab with their Arab culture. So the notion is that we are following desert Arabs, when in truth, we are the original desert Arabs. That word original, Big Bub, is so important. Okay, now, and I get that part. But again, my thing is this is how my mind works. So, okay, we are the original desert Arab, okay? Where did we come from? Where did that come from? I'm talking about the source. I'm talking about what led them to want to be desert Arabs, you know, nomads, you know, Bedouins, or whatever they want to call them. You know what I mean? Where did that begin? The original of the original. You know what I mean? Because again, it all got to come from something. It all has to come from something. We want to label it original. You know, we want to label it original. But the truth of the matter is, man, in a lot of respects, a lot of these things that we call a label original came from something before it. Technically, it can't be original. Something came before desert Arabs, before they would what you describe as desert Arabs. That's what I'll be talking about. You know, I'm just curious as to that. That's it. Cash Money said, man, truth be told, we spend more of our resources on nonsense and on nonsense which doesn't benefit our needs. All right, keep giving it to us, fam. Again, man, Cash Money said, truth be told, we spend more of our resources on nonsense, which doesn't benefit our needs. Truth to power. All right, Fat Rat said, man, Pharaoh is symbolic of American power, bub. The context is a modern day Pharaoh, bub. Okay, and okay, so right quick. At the end of all that, I said, man, is we okay, boss? Massa, is everything all right? You know, it's doing it. And I was referring to how we have succumbed to the way of the world here in the United States. Yeah, master, white, those who control, run everything, the grand plantation. Yeah, I get it. I truly, I got it when you said it. But listen, man, I'm like this, man. Be that as it may, you know, we the metaphors, man, the big house, man, the plantation, man, the pharaoh, the president, the king, you know, the monarchs, whatever, you know. Most of us know, even when the shit was really real, when our people was, you know, actually going through that shit, right from wrong, you know, right from wrong. And as a result, a lot of them chose to go with right, you know, and be righteous in the action. They were willing to make these sacrifices, you know, and take them chances, man. Let me get away from this shit. Because I see Pharaoh, man, about the bullshit, you know. One minute Pharaoh don't want us, the next minute he don't want to let us go. And then done it so much that we don't know how to let Pharaoh go. We don't know how to disconnect, man, from the system, man, from them. That's a problem, especially when we know what the system is all about and how it treats us. That's the problem. You know, you know, for the most part, I mean, we get what the system is all about. And it's been this way for a few millennium, you know. But what are we going to do about that? You know, woe is me. And okay, then, you know, there's something, there's got to be something other than us, you know, speaking about shit we know is already messed up, effed up. What are our solutions? You know what I mean? Not only that, but before we can get to that, how do we get to the people? How do we tap into the people, man, to give them the understanding you have, you know, to let them see, hey, man, here's really the folly in your ways. Here's where we're messing up, or here's where, you know, we can do better if we, you know, not go this way or the way they're telling us to go, you know. Yeah, they got all the power. Yeah, they rule it, but that don't mean, man, we got to be subjected to this shit. How do we get to these brothers and sisters? You know, and again, most of them already know the system. They got a grand understanding. They got enough people around them that say, hey, man, this shit is it's effed up. Okay. How do we change this shit? You know, how do we get them to be on board with what needs to be done? That's the question. I think that's the question. You know, that's for me. You know, Farrah going to say Donald Trump's role at this hour is mimicking a pharaoh. Yeah, you know. But again, look, it's like this. And I tend to look at shit. Now, how you said that's cool. That's great. When we're talking about, let's talk about antiquity, right? And we had Nubia, we had Ethiopia, we had those areas of the continent that were actually greater than Kemet, right? Who actually prescribed to get down for Kemet, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. You know, where the source really came from. It didn't start in Kemet. It was handed to them saying, here, this is how we do this. This is how you got to do this, right? My point is this. Same go for Trump. So, you know, metaphorically speaking, Trump is Kemet, right? He's Egypt. You got Ethiopia and you got Nubia. You got some motherfuckers that's running Trump. Trust to know that, right? So Trump ain't shit but a figurehead. That's it. You know? And we got a whole lot of them. Trump is doing what he's told to do, no doubt. Even back in antiquity, Egypt could not run at a certain time before things changed. It could not do what it wanted to do. It done what it was told. Trump. You know? He's a fake in Pharaoh's clothing. You know what I mean? He's just not that guy. But I get your point. Beautiful point. Beautiful point. All right, I see you gone, Henry, man. Good night, right back to you. And I have to do the same. I didn't know it was 8:30, y'all. You know, Farrah get to hit me, man, and then we go, boy, that's a good piece of dialogue and discourse. You know what I mean? We got to have this, though, y'all. It's necessary. Here we say, good night, everyone. Much respect to all. Brother Bub, peace, and see you on the next live episode 1. Salute, peace, and prosperity to you, brother. Enjoy the rest of your evening, all right? Fat Rat says, listen, man, they have desired to play our role as Pharaoh since Alexander of Macedonia raided Egypt and stole the 42 books of Hermes. They portray themselves as exercising power in our manner. You're going to say, Fat Rat, that Mecca in Saudi Arabia is the cradle of civilization, bub. That black stone that they circumambulate the Kaaba in Mecca and kiss is us. Okay, now again, so you're saying that Saudi Arabia, which is, they say it's supposed to be called, really mean the land of the black or something of that nature, is the cradle of civilization. That's what you're saying. I'm not contesting you. I'm just asking. That's what you're saying. All civilization derived from Saudi Arabia. That's what you're saying. Right? All right. And I'm going to write that down because I'm going to have to go research that. I need to know where that came from. I would like to know where that came from. All right. All right. All right. Fat Rat, you're going to say that is the root of civilization, Saudi Arabia. All right, Frederick has to be C, bro. I'll give you 4 of them right quick. All right. And my mind works in, not necessarily mysterious ways, but it works. It works. It works. It works. Let me write that down as well. That was the 42 books of Hermes. All right. Obviously not civilization. Obviously not civilization came out of Africa. Okay. Well, it depends again how you look at Saudi Arabia. Is it actually part of the continent? Because let it be told, geologists and anthropologists, scholars, whatever they say, that it is the cradle of civilization. Yeah, I'm going to look at it though. That's for sure. That's for sure, because I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And again, I'm stuck on just in terms of Mecca in Saudi Arabia is the cradle of civilization, bub. That black stone that they circumambulate, they go around the Kaaba in Mecca and kiss is us. So the Kaaba, or is it Kaaba in Mecca? Okay, yeah, I got to do my my due diligence on that, because I like to know now, because I got questions. But before I get to them, I'm gonna go and do my due diligence, bro. For sure tomorrow night I will have questions, Fat Rat. All right, Quentin Zinga said that's my cue, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your evening, kings and queens. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be one. Frederick Hazard B Man says Kemetic knowledge, spread it throughout the globe. All right. Fat Rat said, man, just as Pharaoh wasn't shit to the great. Okay, just as Pharaoh wasn't shit to the great I am, and the original man is the great I am. My bad, big bub. I got to get on earlier. No doubt, no problem, bro. Listen here, man. Y'all know to get down, right? You should. We need to. Keep this in mind. It's the same way, man, we able to recite this type of stuff, man, that we're able to regurgitate, a lot of this information, or what we call education and knowledge, man. We should also remember, man, or want to regurgitate this one thing, man. Love yourself. You got to say it to yourself, Love yourself so that you can love that next brother and sister, man, that may need their love in the worst way. Never know. Amen. Take care of yourself so that, man, you be in a position or condition to take care of another brother and sister who may need your support, man. And that could be any day. All right. Love yourself. Take care of yourself, man, so that brothers and sisters could benefit from that love. All right. Let me put it to you like that. That being said, man, power is in the people. Power is in the people. Power is in the people. You are, you have been, and you will be under the groove. Peace and prosperity, everybody. One love. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Count the names, count the bodies, count the victory. Cullen Hughes, Hearst, and writing future history. From the Apollo to the borough to the sphere. Where the echo of those Harlem nights still ringing clear. So when they ask what happened in those tenement flats, between the spirituals and where consciousness is at, tell them we transform suffering to scholarship and song. Tell them we've been telling you we're brilliant all along. The Renaissance will prologue every decade since the sequel. Every black child born's continuation of the people who survived the Middle Passage, survived the Jim Crow laws, and built magnificence from nothing but their vision and their flaws. That's in the sergeant. This is once a less than had this had this and Mercedes. Please don't you, I can't stop us. Power sensitive budget, the applause for pose. Need your data, talks and consulate any problem when the wet just wanna build the season big. Now don't get the pause. It's just the raising up the cons. Plead the markets off the main. Make it honor fans. Turn the neck and love the durn. Suffer like a kesha. You were wrong to preaching up. I'm sorry, see chillun, bitch on the shit and untrue seeing vets. Someone the very inch on Gary Land. Be hell in heaven, you see what the Bonavir. If wait, talking for the harbor, make the key to pull the club and saw the boats to the Sanger land is carried open, slowly keep us looking on my mother, break it, generous, he more than he, and let the peasant be, is every time we keep a spawn.